was told, run off the road. So I ran off the road. But my husband was not lucky enough to run off the road. And they caught
Professor.
up with him. Yeah, caught up with him. Chopped the vehicle in which he was, because the doors were locked, cutting it with pangas, and then reached him and cut his ear, half of it off, cut in the front of his head. Fortunately, just did not break the skull. That was...
We are talking about the first cardiologist in this country being hacked.
Chopped. He was hacked. It was bad.
My name is Davis Ojiambo, the editor, Radio Jambo. Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Professor Hillary Ojiambo. In part 1 of our interview, she talked about her early life challenges, education, and her entry into politics. In our part 2, with a lot of pain, she explains how her late husband, Professor Hillary Ojiambo, was hacked and left for dead during her campaigns in 1974. For the first time, she opens up on who the late Professor Hillary Ojiambo was. For those who may not be aware, the late Hillary Ojiambo was Kenya's first cardiologist and always considered as the father of cardiology in the country. I started by asking her if she was aware of her husband's condition when the results were being announced.
He was left for dead. Thank God. That was very near the Nangina hospital, if you know the area.
I know the area.
So the people who are following with the vehicles who were behind him rushed, picked him, rushed him to Nangina for first aid. And yeah, and Nangina communicated with Nairobi for flying doctors to run to Nangina.
At that time, you had taken off, you were hiding somewhere.
Me, I was hiding. I was hiding in somewhere in Bukiri area.
Oh
I didn't know what was happening. Because when I came out of my hiding place, I was told your husband is dead.
Oh my.
But he had been flown to Kisumu. So he was taken care of. Thank God he survived.
There were no mobile phones to call and confirm.
There were no mobile phones. I had just to take a road and run to Kisumu. But then when I went to Kisumu, I would not come back. I went to Kisumu. By the time I got to Kisumu, the whole nation had known what has happened. And the GSU were mobilized to come to Funyula. Now it was war zone. It was nothing like you've never seen before. So my colleague was picked up. For me, I was locked up in Kisumu, not to go back to Funyula again. But him, he was picked up and put behind bars. So when how the day ended was not in our domain. We had no idea of what was happening thereafter. So
Funyula was a war zone.
Funyula was a war zone. The GSU now moved in, and you know how they do it.
I know, yes.
It was not easy anymore. But voting continued until 5. The polling stations closed. And, boxes were moved to Busia. Those days, counting was being done in Busia. They were taken to Busia. Counting went on for 3 days. We were locked away for 3 days.
Now here, the counting is going on. You still new in politics. You don't know the results. Your husband has been hacked.
In ICU.
In ICU. What was going through your mind at that time?
It's not easy. It was, you can imagine what would you think would go through your mind. Yeah, I was numb completely. So I asked myself, was it worth it?
You regretted having...
Yeah, was it worth it? I wish I had said no to these elders who insisted. I wish we had not agreed, but both my husband and myself were there. Was it worth it? But I kept praying that he's not going to pass on.
And the prayers were answered.
And yeah, fortunately.
Now we are here after 3 days announcing the results.
After 3 days announcing the results, my husband's still in ICU. I'm in Kisumu under police custody. My friend is in Kakamega in
So had they arrested you or they were just protecting you?
I was under protection
Okay,
because we didn't know
Okay.
who else would still be chasing
Yes.
to find me. You know,
Yes.
now that even he had been arrested, we didn't know who are his supporters and where were they.
Yes.
Yeah, they could have been among the crowds following me or sitting with me or whatever. So the police, just for the sake of protection.
So after the announcement, that
announcement was staged, but I was taken from Kisumu under custody, escorted to Busia, and he was brought from Kakamega, also under tight security. So we sat in the hall, we sat in one end of the hall, we sat in one end of the hall, and we listened to the results. So when they announced the results, me, I was just numb. I didn't even believe it. I didn't hear what was happening. In fact, when I saw people jumping.
You didn't know whether to celebrate or?
I was numb. I was not even listening. I had not even heard the announcement. But I remember people coming, lifting me up in the air. And I said, what's happening? I thought another one has happened. I thought they were coming to take me to safety.
Yes.
So I was so scared. For a minute, I didn't understand what had happened. But then I was told you have won the elections. So interesting. So I was picked up from there. People are dancing. They took me out of the hall, put me in a vehicle. Now this time the GSU were already up to support my cars surrounded.
Because now your status has
changed completely. I'm the AP for area now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, what has happened? Am I going back to Kisumu? No, you're not going to Kisumu. Now we'll take you back home.
We'll protect you.
We'll protect
from your home.
So that home, Little Namisi, I was in if you know Samia, Namisi area. My mother-in-law's little place where I used to campaign from my mother-in-law's house. So they took me back to my mother-in-law's house. My husband is still in the ICU in Kisumu.
Yes.
So I went to my mother-in-law's place and they offered security. And I went home. That was my home now. And I was now the MP for the area. It was very exciting. But I don't know that I enjoyed that moment at all. It didn't matter anything. It didn't mean anything to me. I don't even remember what it was.
Because you are at the center, you don't know whether to celebrate or to think of Mzee's injury in hospital. My
mind was on Mzee's injury.
Yes.
And my children in Nairobi, because I don't know whether they are safe. Because you could see this now as if it is continuing.
Yes.
I hope it's not going on to Nairobi.
Because now
to catch up with my children as well.
I've beaten you. Maybe you can organize and
go
get your point.
The children as it always happens.
Okay.
But the JSU stayed with me for a whole week in Samia until I was strong enough now to say I go back to Kisumu. And they escorted me back to go join my husband in a hospital just to see where he was. And he was doing well. He did well. But by that time he was conscious. He was out of danger. So we came back to Nairobi. They brought us to Nairobi to our home. And in the following week, Mzee Kenyatta constituted his government. And suddenly we hear, oh, you have been appointed assistant minister. So then I say, what? What is assistant minister?
He kept his promise.
He kept his promise. Then huyo msichana nilisema akipita atabaki kwa serikali. So I had suddenly an assistant minister.
That was 1974? 1974.
And no woman had been.
Yes.
in that position before. It was joining the cabinet, because everybody now comes together as a cabinet, the government, and it just this woman in that cabinet. The elders amused me. The elders would say, "Are you going to sit in a dingira?" You know, the Kikuyu elders had never heard of a woman sitting in a dingira. So their first question was, "Huyo anataka kwa dingira na wazee?" Because that's where wazee sit to discuss issues. So huyo mama atakaa kwa dingira kweli? Mzee amekubali mama aingie kwa serikali aende kukaa kwa dingira. You know, for them, it's breaking the walls of unknown.
It was a reserve for men.
Reserve for men. Now what has happened? Mzee is Mzee Kenyatta normal, thinking right. But there it is, it already announced it and he was serious about it. So I was very excited later on to realize that now I've joined the government.
Yes.
And I'm a member of parliament.
As an MP, how much were you people earning at that time?
There wasn't much salary. All I can remember that whenever I ever got any money to take home was 20,000 shillings maximum. On my pay slip that I look back to, and some of them are still available with me, I don't remember earning more than 20,000 shillings a month.
Okay.
And that was the money we used for development, that the money we used for going up and down, that's the money you used to take care of yourself.
On development, now that you are an MP, and because there's a number of projects that even some of us, when growing up, we were actually seeing them, that every time would be told this project was initiated by Dr. Julia, this one was initiated. How did you get the money? Because you didn't have CDF. And going by your pay, it was very little to sustain all those projects. How did you manage it?
I had a very interesting time. During our days, I was still different. You know, we had Harambee as the spirit of the nation. And people pulled the resources together to do things. Just like I said, that, you know, the elders pulled the resources together to help me achieve a strategy whenever we wanted to go to a rally, for instance. They would help me mobilize youth, and mobilize themselves, and take themselves there.
Yes.
I didn't take them. And when they finished, they took themselves back. So when I got into leadership of the area, they were very good. They quickly taught me to sit with them. They quickly taught me to sit with the community. And they quickly helped me to define what development issues were of importance to them. Development took a different perspective in Zambia.
Yes.
Completely. Because here I was a young girl. Here I was a new entrant into politics. Here I was in a new field as a member of government. The nation wanted me everywhere. Everybody wanted me to go in West Pokot. When I was West Pokot, Lam people wanted to see this woman in the government. The Mount Kenya wanted me to be everywhere. And I kept moving. And at the same time, I had a constituency. And I had got into parliament because the elders had said they missed development.
They wanted a change.
They wanted a change. So how am I going to combine the two? It's amazing. It worked very well for me. The elders, as I said, gave me opportunity to learn the topography, the behavior of my people, and their needs. But my friends in academia here, from the area, would not leave me alone. They also came with me. They helped me to design programs. they helped me to single out priorities.
Yes.
And they were there to help me chair groups. So what we did was, for every village, we gave them a committee. We brought groups together of the women, of the youth, of the elders into groups. And then out of those groups, we also designed programs for them. Each sector of need had its own little committee again. It said, water for this village. We have a water committee, we had agriculture committee, we had a religious committee, we had a schools committee, we had roads committee, we had health committee. We had so many committees. So all these leaders, fortunately, with our design, were able again to find a common meeting place. So every week they would meet to talk about the development in their specific area of assignment. Every month they brought reports together. At the end of the month, they coordinated activities of the whole area would be brought together by my leaderships. And they will tell me what has been achieved, what has not been achieved. I would come from Nairobi with my plan, government plan, and be able to feed in. This is what we have in the area of health, this is what we have in the water, this is what we have. And it just fitted in.
Yes.
And then implementation was the most interesting, because that's where today you need money, you need CDF. For us, we didn't have CDF, we didn't have anything. Like I say, I didn't even have money to feed them when they came to meetings. They came to my rallies, they came with their water. They brought me some maize, and we ate. When we were on the road and we saw somebody's nice guava tree, they would say, come, and they pick the guavas. They give you fruit to eat. You ask permission, they let you eat. But not that we had money to buy food like you do today, sit people at lunch. And people were ready for change. And then I said, for you to have water, piped water,
yes,
you need the pipes. But even if you are given pipes, you need trenches. You need to put them underground. Who will do that? They say, mama, we kwenda tutafutie mtu wa kuleta mifereji, sisi tutalima. So
communities owned the project.
the community owned the project.
That was good.
So I would come here, and all I did at that time, I remember Dr. then Keano was a minister for water. I came and pleaded with him if he can give me some opportunity to talk to some donors who can donate pipes. And they allowed me to talk, and two groups, Sweden and Norway, and Finland, not Norway, Finland. Now Finland had this water drilling machine.
Yes.
Today we see the water
Actually, most of the water projects in Kenya,
drill water projects.
Finland, the footsteps of Finland,
That was my project.
the footprints are all over.
I brought that project, the first rig
Yes.
from England, from Finland. I went to the ambassador of Finland
Yes.
and asked them to give me one rig for experimental purposes. And one rig was flown from Finland for me.
Okay.
And I started the first borehole project in Kenya. What you see today.
So that's how they came to Kenya, actually.
That's how they came to Kenya in 1975. So that was my water project. And then out of my water borehole, the first borehole, because I was in government. I had now to make it government project so that we can share it out, and quickly shared it out. It became water for health. I had to link it up with health.
Yes.
So we had the Finland Kenya water health project. So we had what they called KEFINCO, Kenya Finland Company of Water and Health. And that was what has created what you see today. Water for health, but the borehole spreading all over Kenya. Started with one rig imported from Finland. That was for that. That helped me to now start to internalize the water situation in Samia. Then the Danish government, the government joined together, Danida and Sida, and they brought me pipes. And they brought pipes and donated them to the Kenya government. Dr. Kiano, then the Minister for Education, loaded all that on one big trailer, and he brought all those pipes to Samia and poured them at Funyula, just in the open field, and left them there. As I told my people, now look, si mlitaka maji, mifereji ndio hii. Si utaka tupeleke maji nyumbani, mifereji ndio. How do we get the water into the houses? And you know, those people were wonderful. All you needed, and the ministry, of course, was also very, very supportive. They helped us do the planning of the water routing.
Yes.
The local people just came out, every village with their jembes to dig trenches. For as long as there was a water department person telling them, this is where we want your pipe to pass, they dug those trenches and supervised and coerced and dug throughout the whole constituency and fitted the pipes into the water, into the soil. And today those pipes are still there.
So to you, this what we call public participation was not a new idea? People think it was a new idea? You started it long ago.
We did, and it was very successful. For us, it was very successful. Public participation was very successful, and that's why it was real successful. Because they participated in planning, they participated in resource mobilization, and they participated in the implementation. They participated in the supervision of their own, and it worked very well.
And Prof, on projects, what is this one project that you did? It could be one or two or three, that is still at the heart of your mind. Every time you think of what you did as a member of parliament, you think of this project. It's at the center of your heart.
Oh, of course, water is one. Technical education. And Bombay, I keep saying, we started with just a duckling, and that institution has grown to what it is, and it created a lot of technical institutions in Busia. We have a technical institute in Butula, in Busia, in Bunyala, in Matayos, at Bohayo.
Yes.
Out of Bombay. So, and we have, of course, our own polytechnic, Nangina Polytechnic. We have now Buburi Polytechnic. We have Namasari Polytechnic. They are all over. So technical education has spread very, very well. And that one area I liked very much. So that is one. I did also security and Seaport Police Station, because it's still there. So it is water, it is technical education, it is
Agenda project.
Agenda project, nutrition, it is there, it is fisheries, Wahungu water, fish ponds. There are still now fish ponds have spread. People are doing very well. I'm glad that they are able to augment their own foodstuff with the proteins. We started the milk goat project. These milk goats that you see in all ASK shows around was participation. But I said you keep the middle, float it on a market, get some money out of it. Let's cure malnutrition for women. What can we do to make it easy for them to get milk?
Yes.
You know, do you remember earlier on we talked about Kwashako?
Yes, yes.
And you remember having been at Makerere and produced
The biscuits.
a biscuit. So I translated that back into my life. And I said, what can I do for the general family? If we gave them just one little animal that does not need a lot of space,
Yes.
that the mother can
easily milk.
Yeah. So my gold medal was sold globally. And the money that United Nations got to FAO was, I was asked what to do with it. I said, you buy goats. So they bought for me goats from Switzerland, those Toggenburgs that you see with the big.
The Samians used to refer to them as goats with earrings.
Those are
in
the
Kisamia,
Anglo-Nubians,
it'll sound
the big
different.
ones with big ears.
Yes.
They had big dropping ears, and we put tags on them. So they call them earrings.
In Kisamia used to sound funny.
Yeah. So those were Anglo-Nubians
Yes.
from Arab country. Then we had the Toggenburgs from Switzerland, and we had the Bedouin goat from Israel. And we brought those to Kenya. And we multiplied them, first of all, at Odiado, Wahungu.
Yes.
So I set up lots of multiplication centers. We multiplied them. Then later on, when I left my position as a member of parliament, I transferred them to Naivasha, back to government. We shared the government. Some went to Baringo, some went to Meru, some went to Kibwezi, and now they became, it became a national scheme. But that one I always treasure.
Yes.
Because that's a direct from my area of passion on nutrition. Yeah. So nutrition with the milk goat, and then as I've said, water in Samia.
The technical institutions.
We have not actualized our dream, but we hope one day we will. The borehole has done very well nationally, and that is a dream and actualized. Chasing technical education, my area, because that's what I did at the Royal Technical College when we started. Technical education has spread everywhere, but I'm part of that team. So some of those, I can mention some,
Yes.
but I can't mention all of them.
But those are the main ones. Prof, do you regret joining politics?
No,
You don't?
I didn't join politics, I told you.
Entering politics?
I joined leadership,
yes,
national leadership.
Yes.
I like national, I liked joining national leadership
Yes.
because it gave me opportunity to go to West Pokot. At that time, when the Pokot woman didn't know the world outside her Manyata. And I remember when Mzee Kenyatta sent me to West Pokot, the Wazee sat on there. They came in a big baraza to see a woman who had joined,
This young woman
who had joined the government of men, the woman who is going to sit in a cabinet, all men cabinet. So I remember all the West Pokot men came. in their dress, traditional, on their a little stool, three-legged stool, with their spear, and put down this, which one? And they looked at me. I went with the whole team of Ministry of Education and Social Services. We were together. We were at that time planting. And Mzee Kenyatta had given me the opportunity to go plant primary education, start primary education for all this. But they said, how did you get there? Wananiuliza kwa lugha yao. And they had translators. How did you get where you got? I said, because my parents sent me to school. Hata watoto wetu tukiwatuma huko wanaweza kuwa kama wewe. So I said, yes. So wataogopa kwenda, nani atawafungulia mlango? They said, na mimi nani alinifungulia mlango? So they asked me all kinds of questions.
Yes.
Nasema, na sasa wewe umetoka wapi? Nasema nimetoka nyumbani kwangu, sio kutoka shule. Nimetoka kwa serikali, na huko serikali nimetoka nyumbani, nimeletwa na wazee wangu, nina familia yangu. Wewe ni mama? Yes. Wewe una watoto? Yes. Bwana yako alikukubali ukuje? They asked me questions.
Want to know.
Yes.
How it
they
happened.
Want to know. Yeah. Whether you really are up there right in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I had to explain that I'm a somebody's child, girl child. I've gone to school. My parents have taken me to school. They have taken me into training. I'm properly married. I'm a mother of my children. I'm a husband, a wife of somebody very senior. And he has allowed me to do this job. We are together in this profession. And I'm now in your serikali government. And I've come to let you also know. I've been sent here by the president to tell you that he wants your children, the girls, to be like me. It was a very interesting encounter. So they started looking at each other to ask, huyu amekuja kuharibu watoto wetu wasichana. So it was translated back. Nikasema hapana, hakuna kitu kibaya kama hiyo. Mzee Kenyatta amenituma, amesema mkubali, watoto wenu pia waende shule, atawapatia kazi kama hiyo amenipatia. Hata watoto wetu wanaweza kuwa kama wewe. Wakisoma kama mimi, watapewa kazi kwa serikali kama mimi. Na hata bibi zenu tuwapeleke Ngumbaru. Nao watasoma pia, wafanye biashara, wakae kwa mkutano kama vile mimi nimekaa. Hapana. Because first was no women in their meeting in the baraza.
Yes.
Then they looked around again. Then anawaambia, but then msipotaka mama pia waonekane mbele, watoto wenu watakwenda wapi kwa shule? It was a long day discussion. I wish it happened in the current setting for the children of today, because it would lose its context. But in that setting and at that particular time, it was a very interesting debate.
Yes.
We debated until they appreciated, because then again they were asking me questions and I was answering.
Yes.
But if in their mind they never thought that a girl child could answer questions at that level. And then they never thought that a woman could sit in the cabinet and answer policy issues, discuss policy issues. And there was answering. So that in itself, it gave me pride.
Yes.
To be who I was, to have landed that position, and to be able to now go and be an example to a community like that. That
Yes.
was one. Went to Lamu, amongst very, very traditional Islamic communities. And the same. I was taken down into there, where is, the mamas wanakaa na buibui huko nyuma, hawezi kutoka mbele. And we sat, we negotiated, we talked how they should come to the front. And it was like, what is happening? It's unveiling. But more importantly, of course, at the time I went into government, I was able to again, it went in at the right time because the international community had just passed a resolution for the women of the world, development of the women of the world, and what you probably have heard about as international women conferences started. And that was when we went to Mexico, Copenhagen, Nairobi, Beijing, and back to New York.
Yes.
So I have been part of that curve. I started it in Nairobi, to Mexico, to Copenhagen, where I put the Kenya position to request for the World Conference to come to Nairobi. And it did come. And I was part of the leadership of that.
Yes.
As part of the leadership of Beijing Conference. So I am happy that...
The famous Beijing.
Yeah. So all this that has translated into empowerment of women, seeing education grow for girl child in Kenya has been part of my life. And if I hadn't joined politics, maybe I would not have seen it.
True.
So in a way, I'm happy.
If you were to go back to politics today, what would you do differently? Or you're comfortable with what you did, you still do the same?
I would ensure that every untouched area is touched. I would wish to unveil what has not been done. And there's a lot of to be done that has not come to fore. I would want to look into what has not been done so that we don't just repeat. But more importantly, I would want to address issues differently.
Yes.
Because the way we addressed issues, I think, was good. It may not be fitting in the current perspective in that things have changed. It's now technology. You don't go on the platform anymore. Of course, we would not fight anymore like I did. But still, there's war in different way.
Yes.
It presents itself in different manner. That one I would not want to see it happen, because that would be completely out. And I said I would like to unveil more frontiers. I would wish to continue to see that debate at the political level is more focused to development and moved away from personalities. Yeah, because that I would definitely want to do it differently from what is happening today.
Yes.
I would want to focus on issues that touch humanity, like when I looked at issues that touched children with malnutrition. And you thought, what can I do? What could one do at that time? You looked for a biscuit, and you probably looked for a milk goat. And not necessarily looked for the mother to castigate her for having allowed the child to fall into a state of affair. So there's a lot that I would want to see work differently. There's a lot of talk these days. When during my political life, it was action, like I say, and planning strategies, and learning from each other.
I want to just rope in this because I wanted to get your take on the current political environment in the country.
Not that we worshipped anybody, but I still believe that we need to have a respect for a nation, and for a nation to be steady, to be stable. You need leadership, and there's a certain amount of respect we need to give to each other. So I would probably wish to think that we have lost quite a bit on that one. I'm not talking about patriotism, but then you're looking at institutions, because you must have a head, and everybody keep respect of that leadership for the whole society to move in what shall we say, resonate.
Yes.
But we currently, it's global, I believe. When during our days you'd want to sit and listen to your father very quietly, and if your father made a mistake, you come back and say, Daddy, I thought this was not very good, but you said it to me. Maybe you talk quietly with him and you understand each other. But these days, I don't think we have that one. Children can even slap their fathers on the face.
You do it in a humane way, in a more respectful way.
Yes. So we do need to have a respect for an institution. Like if it's an institution of governance, if it's an institution of leadership, if it's an institution of headship over a nation, it is not that person. It is that institution. So we normally give a respect. We used to give a lot of respect to the, just say president. President is not so-and-so in it. President is a position, and anybody can be a president. It doesn't have to be that person who is in it. The position of a president must be respected because it's the pinnacle of the nation.
Yes.
It's the pillar on which everything runs. If you pull it down, then the whole will drop. So just for that alone, and when we say we are proud to be Kenyans, so what is Kenya without it being unified into a solid mass standing on a pillar that supports it?
Yes.
So that core must remain very strong. So we must all learn to rally around a core, not necessarily worshipping it, but ensuring that it stands. So how we translate that, I would wish that we get together and just relook at that one, redesign it, remodel it, and bring ourselves together to understand that we can do it without necessarily breaking our varied interests, opportunities, exploration of the world. You do it all, but come home. Home is home.
And what advice can you give young women or young girls, like my colleague here, who have a political ambition? Because most of them maybe are scared, it's male-dominated, it's violent, it's what? What advice can you give those young girls?
I want them to be politicians. I want all of them to be politicians. I want all of them to be, but I want them also to understand that politics is not the only way to lead. Whatever you are a leader. So whatever they are doing, they do it. Let them do it to the perfection. You are a leader in the position you are. But we also went to Beijing because we wanted women in leadership, political leadership, so that they can sit at decision-making tables to decide on behalf of the others. Yeah. So they need to be there, and to prepare themselves in large numbers so that they can all the time fill that vacuum. There's not allow a vacuum to exist. So I want to encourage the young ladies to join politics, and to do so, to start in their lives early enough so that they understand the theories and the practice of it, and also commit themselves when they go to politics.
Yes.
Not to go because they are looking for a job, not to go because they're going to learn when they get there from others, but to go with a passion to be able to lead and go with a passion and understanding that you are going to do something differently when you are there. Not to get there and suddenly find yourself wanting and what to say and looking for ideas and not finding them, and therefore using a language on others, on yourself, on the community that's not desirable.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I would wish that one of these days when our lady is going to parliament, that there's a lot of decorum and just debate on issues, and be very good at debating on issues.
Yes.
Challenge any theories that come, and just spend your days doing that, because that's what you are there for, to ensure that only the best flows back to your constituency, only the best translates into policies for your nation, only the best stays on to advance ourselves and yourself as you continue to lead. So a little more time for them to just do that would be the best for me.
There are two issues that I wouldn't want to wind up before talking about. You are an MP for Samia. Samia is one of the regions in this country that are prone to sickle cell anemia. You person who's been in health for so long, and you understand the predicaments the Samia people have been going through. Some of us actually, we are victims of the same. But just your take, and what can you tell the people of Samia in regard to sickle cell and how to take care of their siblings or children or parents?
I just want to say that people should realize that today there's cancer also killing people.
Yes.
Today there's mosquitoes, malaria, also killing people. And so many others. There's HIV killing people. There's so many different communicable and non-communicable diseases. And sickle cell is just one of them. I would wish to just say that for every community, and it's not only the Samia community, it's in West Africa, it's in West Indies, it's all over the world. It's a disease like any other disease, but we just want now to focus on it and say, now that you've asked that question, that I want to focus on Samia, I just wish to advise that with advancing technology and medical services, it's no longer a hidden disease. In the past, parents were accused of witchcraft because they didn't understand what it was. And parents who lost children without the village knowing why they are losing children, they thought there was somebody in the village who was looking at them, amerogwa, who was bewitching. That's no longer. It is important that we look at our lifestyles, and just like when the children are born, that they are looked at. These days, the technology is advanced. Children are looked at, and their blood systems are analyzed in the hospitals. So I'd like to advise that parents look at that the children grow up knowing what their status is, so that when they get attacked in their life, they know where to go for service. And service is also in hospitals. In Samia, we have organizations that have come together of parents who are suffering, who have families that have been affected, and are assisting each other. This is a good thing. And I think that if that is if that continues and is strengthened, it's a way of spreading knowledge. And knowledge will literally be that then you know who is in the village, who is a carrier, you know who is affected, who is likely to be affected, and then where can we get assistance. And that's the way to go without saying too much. I guess that in Samia, like the rest of Busia on Western Province, Nyanza Province, the Ministry of Health now has got centers, and they have got facilities attached to every unit. Like every county government has some knowledge now of how they handle these cases, and parents should be advised. What we need is who advises them.
Yes.
How do they know that they need it? Like I have said, when the children are born, that's the only thing that where we can start. That's clearer, that parents are able to take the children for their blood samples to be taken, and the child, mother and child will know that my child is suffering. It's this, and the child will be guided in life to know how they grow, and the children will therefore, as they grow, be given education on how to handle their life as they grow up, to manage their life in their future as they grow up.
In your opinion, would it be necessary, the way we did for HIV, that young people from these areas should actually go and find out their sickle cell status, so that maybe it can help them making lifetime decisions in future?
It's advisable, but then, like I have said, if the children being born, their status is known,
yes,
it's automatic. That becomes automatic.
Yes.
In a few years' time, a child will know how to explain why am I feeling unwell, because his or her medical report will show them as they grow up their status.
Okay.
So we start from the beginning
Okay.
with the parents, and let the children, as they come out of a maternity home, they know. On the next few months, as they visit the hospitals, take the child for wellness clinics, they are told. Again, the child's report will educate the child to know as they grow up.
Yes.
Where that has not happened, you are right, then the child may want to do that. Or we may advise that the child does that, seeks to know. But unless it is sick, how will they know?
So as a parent with a sickle cell child, are you telling them they should not give up on their children?
No, not at all. Today there's a lot, technology has improved.
Yes.
And there's no stigma about it. There's no giving up. It's like any other illness. It's treated, it is contained, it is improved, it is it's controlled. So there's no giving up. There is a lot of advancement in medical sciences now that is proving very positive. There's bone marrow transplant, and who knows next?
Yes.
It will be just as it is like any other, and it's soon going to be handled just like I've said other diseases are being handled.
And finally, Prof, if we can allow us to rewind the clock a little bit. I know it might be a very uncomfortable topic, and talk about the first cardiologist in this country. If you can just give just a 10-minute story about the life, let him tell that story as if he's here today. just a little bit about his life and how he lived, how he left, and some of the principles he believed in, and some of the projects he worked on, and some of the footprints that he left in the medical world in this country. Just briefly.
Unfortunately, I can't wear his boots. His boots are very big.
I know.
And then secondly, if I were to even just start to rewind, even just for one bit of his, 1 year of his life, I'll never be able to finish. Because he lived a very rich life and very fast life as well. Professor Hillary Ojiambo is like myself, grew up in Samia, was born in Samia and grew up in Samia, and almost did the same way up the ladder education the way I did. Because from Samia, you went to Nankina, and then Yala, and then Mangu, and then Makerere, and London, Edinburgh, McGill, and where didn't he go? All over. And he traversed the whole world. But what was important about Professor Hillary is that he was a very brilliant medical scientist, born, because I still find people here who say even if they just sat with him for 1 minute, they felt well. And you weren't feeling unwell, he just talked to you about your illness, and you walked away healed. There are those he actually administered medicine to, and he did that. There are those that he recommended for surgery and did surgery on them, and they were healed. There are also, of course, those that God called because of his own design and left us. But what shall I say? Hillary was a very passionate physician. Was an internal medicine student, was the best scholar during his time at Makerere, 1957, I think is when he graduated from the University of East Africa as a medical officer. Came and worked in Kenya at Kiambu as a MOH, at Nyeri as provincial medical officer, Nairobi as the first, as the government physician in charge of internal medicine, and
There's something he started at University of Nairobi.
Yeah, at the University of Nairobi. They are the founders of the medical faculty of the University of Nairobi. So he was at the University of Nairobi as professor of internal medicine, and then a specialist cardiologist to government of Kenya, and the cardiologist, the chief cardiologist in charge of what shall we call it? At the Ministry of Health.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also read somewhere him in, was it Zimbabwe or Zambia?
Yes, he went to Zambia, started the Department of Cardiology at the Zambia University. Yes, he did that. Hillary was the first African, black African, to do open heart surgery. He was only second on the continent to Chris Barnard. Chris Barnard was the South African cardiologist. So in medical literature, if you were to open pages, you will read of him as being the second to Chris Barnard and the first in sub-Saharan Africa, the chief cardiologist. I don't know what more to say about him.
Oh, what do you remember about him as a friend?
He was a very good friend. He was Hillary
A
was
friend and a husband,
very
of course.
buoyant. When he was in the streets of Nairobi, he would be making his patients laugh because they don't. When he was sitting with them at the bedside, he was a very serious physician. When he was in the streets, he was a very buoyant young Kenyan boy. He was a football lover. He would be sitting at the City Stadium laughing his head off because, as a young boy also, he played football. And yeah, so he loved going to Samia and mingling with the Samias. And like I say, he was my best campaigner. He would leave medical school here and go and campaign and come back and teach. So he was just himself. He was a good person, very friendly, a very well-known Kenyan. He had almost all his friends. That's why he even took it for granted that in politics he didn't find an enemy. And immediately after, when he recovered from his cuts, he told me, the first project you do, let's go to do a water system for my friend. He called him his friend, the one who had chopped him. We got to do a water project at his father's house. So when I went into parliament, the second month, I was forced to go to Luchululo.
Yes.
To do a water project at Ochoada's house.
Oh my.
His father's house. We did that because that was what he was, very friendly. He didn't remember all the, he still has his bandage, but he still insisted, go and do something for my friend's father, because that's where you started development.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nobody like enemy. That was all right. We were in a game of football. You see, when somebody scores and you scored, so you go greet his parents. So I went and did that. That's the kind of person that he was. He didn't have an enemy. Very friendly.
Thank you, Prof. I think we've had enough discussion. We've talked about so many things with this Iron Lady.
That was Professor Hillary Ojiambo, the trailblazer in many fronts from education, gender empowerment, and politics. For more of these interviews, you can find us on our YouTube channel, our Facebook pages, and Instagram. I have been your host, Davis Ojiambo.